which told me they didn't listen. Meg got our contact information, was polished, professional, very knowledgeable about that house, about the area, and then didn't call me. And I thought, well, that's actually a good sign. If somebody's going to at least take note of why we're there and what's a better use of her time and not feel desperate to be chasing business, that's something to put in the back pocket. So that was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think. So yeah, so that's really when it came time to consider an agent. That was the only reason I called Meg at all.
So did you reach out to Meg then when you were ready to talk?
I did. I kept the business card. I called and left a message, and she said, "Hey, I thought I recognized that voice." Which, okay, well, that means you got a good ear.
I did though. It was so funny. I totally recognized your voice. I was like, I know I've talked to you before.
Yep. And as soon as we did talk live, and she remembered the open house and my wife and I's backstory about what we were doing there, and I said, "Okay, we have decided to sell this house. You've got a big hill to climb, but I'm willing to at least have a conversation."
Yeah, he laid the groundwork to say, "Hey, this is going to be not easy for you." But you know, it's a challenge. Lauren, what question do you have?
So, Ken, did you meet with anyone else besides Meg?
I did not. I have some friends who were in the business, and I like them a lot as friends, and didn't think it was worth the time because, again, their own backstory, their experience level, their success in the field didn't really give me any sense that it was going to pay off to let some friend of mine get paid, so to speak. And again, I probably didn't mention this. The last 2 homes that I sold, I used a for sale by owner listing brokerage so that I'd save that 3% commission, spend $500 to get a house on MLS, and then take it from there. So no, I did not meet with anybody else.
So after you did meet with Meg at your home, why did you decide to list with her?
Yeah, it's easy. And this is at the risk of sounding super cheesy or canned. The entire process from day one was fantastic. So I reached out to her to see, can you give us any advice on what we should do? You have basically no chance to get this business, but it's worth talking to you. So she came, and first and most importantly, on time. And I don't want to minimize that. Every phone call, every communication, every meeting we've had, she's been on time or early, which means that she's considerate of my time as well as her own. So she came armed with a lot of information, a lot of collateral, some very polished professional material that, again, maybe she's going to get no money at all out of this to have gone to that effort. So she showed up prepared, and we talked through, again, the idea that, okay, look, if you're going to get a 3% commission, you got to explain to me how I'm going to get back the 3% plus $1. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. So the comparable information, the backstory of Compass Realty, the services that they provide, along with some information about her network of realtors and the people that they could bring who would be interested in this specific property versus just trying to cast a big net. So that was part of the first day, but then the fun started. Meg started wandering around the house, and here I'm thinking, oh, my house is absolutely ready to put on the market right this second, except for one bathroom that still needed some work done to it. Not so fast. So here's some things that you could do if you wanted to that would be, fairly low cost. We can provide financing that you don't have to pay back a nickel at competitive labor rates. Some of those things included painting the kitchen cabinets in what was already a pretty stunning chef's kitchen, refacing the fireplace, just brightening up the entire house and decluttering it even more than I already had. So again, the transformation, I think, was pretty spectacular. I like to brag about this at the risk of messing up this interview. I'd like to show you at least one example of that kind of thing. So let's do this. I don't know if you can see the picture or if you're still looking at me. Probably still looking at me.
We're still looking at you.
Okay, hold on.
And
okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so this was our chef's kitchen with custom cabinetry, double ovens, granite, really, really stunning looking kitchen, but a little bit dark compared to what most people want. So a crew came in and turned it into this.
Woohoo!
And it's night and day. And to be that much brighter and appealing, I think you can't really put a hard price tag if you're looking for hard dollars on an emotional connection to something that you just walk into and have to have. But I would say most people would be pretty happy with this. Most people would be floored with this. So, that was a big part of it. And so then once it was ready to list, and if you all have questions you want to interject, please let me know, because I'm kind of telling the whole story all at once here, but it's a good story. So all of that labor, all of that coordination, Meg took care of, basically project managed, made sure that the people were there, got the work done. Again, the labor rates for all that work were extremely competitive. I've done enough renovations to understand. And so now it's time to list the house. Life gets really interesting then, because by that time it's mid-March. There is a virus that is starting to shut down the economy. And my thoughts immediately went back to 2008, 2009, when banks wouldn't loan money, when people weren't buying houses. And to say I was nervous is a bit of an understatement. So again, you're relying on someone's expertise, but also to help tamp down that emotional reaction to a very emotional process. Meg was calm, collected, always armed with information. Why don't we take a tack that may prove helpful? And she was very honest in saying, I've never dealt with this either. So we made the decision to list the house significantly lower than what we had planned even 2 months earlier. It went on the market at noon on a Friday, and then it went crazy. Now, the good news is we had a really cool house, but we also had a very well-prepared agent who'd already reached out to her network of brokers. Now, my wife and I were staying out of town, but our neighbors told us cars were lined up down the street, begging to get in. Meg basically spent 24 hours not sleeping, calling me from time to time with updates. As early as 2 hours in, we have a full price offer. A few hours later, we have multiple offers. And then she put the word out, we're shutting this down, bring your best and highest offer on Saturday. So it was a 24-hour window. And by the next day at noon, we had an offer $100,000 over the list, which was actually more than I had hoped to get when we had talked before the coronavirus outbreak. So now we've got an offer, fantastic. Now what? Well, she took care of all of the pieces and of the puzzle that would then maybe start to undermine the whole effort. There's going to be a home inspection. There's going to be an appraisal. The bank may choose or not choose to fully fund this house based on the buyers. Everything just worked and fell into place. And even though it was the biggest transaction I've been part of, it was far and away the easiest. So, for that, it was worth every single penny that Meg got paid, and probably she didn't get paid enough.
Oh, Ken, I promise I did not pay him to say all these things.
No, it's absolutely from the heart. So,
well, thank you for that. I think the greatest thing is so many people that I think that they get scared to even start the conversation. And I think what people need to know is this is what we love to do. Like Lauren loves doing this. I love doing this. This is, where we thrive. And so if people have questions about this process or how it goes, I think your story today has been incredibly important in letting people know what to expect. And also, you have to also note that every market is a sub-market of Atlanta and calls for different renovations that are going to be meaningful to a buyer to the point where they're going to raise the sales price to a certain level. So that's where we really shine, knowing these sub-markets and what demands a buyer is going to have in that sub-market. So I think that we were so spot on with exactly what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Amazing. Thank you. And I think the last question, Lauren, if you want to go for that one, as our closing question today.
Yeah. So Ken, if someone came to you and said that they were thinking of listing their home either for sale by owner or with a discount broker, what would you tell them?
Well, first of all, every situation is going to be different, but I think selling a house is always going to have some common themes. And among those are, first of all, getting it ready to sell. Are you 100% sure that your choice of decor, staging, colors, and let's face it, paint is super cheap and super easy to apply, but the wrong color can make people want to turn around as soon as they walk in. Is it what you like, or is it what everyone is going to like? And how do you know that it's what everyone is going to like? The second thing is the time factor. So we get back to, it's a lot of money, I can handle this myself. Can you really? Are you really prepared to leave your house every time a buyer's agent shows up or wants to inquire? And then if you're lucky enough to get a flood of offers, are you going to be organized enough and have the time to manage all of those? Because there's a very good chance if I had done this on my own, and miracle of miracles, we were overwhelmed on the first day, that best and highest offer that got the deal could have slipped through the cracks, because I would have been juggling balls that I have never tried to keep in the air before. So that sort of leads into the next piece of this, which is experience. Have you been through this? Do you understand everything about a contract, about the escrow process, how the 3 rounds of negotiation are going to work, and that the offer that you get is not what you're going to close at, because you've got inspections, you've got appraisals. Who's going to go to bat for you during those rounds? Next, and I've mentioned this before, do you have a network of agents that are going to bring interested buyers that have already been vetted, already been qualified, are interested today in spending money for the house that you're trying to sell? And then lastly, and again, it always comes back to me for the money. Is it worth, giving somebody or paying somebody 3%, which is a pretty large check to write, when does it feel like they're going to do that much work? So if you're going to go in for surgery, do you want to hire the surgeon who's going to keep you on the table longer than everybody else so that the hourly rate is the lowest? Or do you want to pay the best surgeon who will get in and get out and make sure that everything works the way that it should? So yeah, I think those all help me make the decision. Couple more things to think about. This is real world. The house that we sold is on a street that has 60 homes, give or take, on it. It's not in a neighborhood. There are 2 homes for sale on that street. One's been on the market since November. Another one hit the market right after ours sold, and it's still on the market a month and a half later. Why haven't these sold? They're in the exact same place that our house was. If real estate is about location, what's the missing piece of this puzzle? And in my mind, it's someone who understands how to get the house sold in both instances. So I think, look, there are the barriers to entry in real estate. Look, I took and passed the test years ago. I think it's not the hardest test to take, but that's the very smallest piece of being a good realtor. And you can either hire somebody who's okay at it and regret it, or you can hire a professional who's going to help you more than make up for what they're getting paid. And so that's what I would encourage people to think about that. And go live your life and do the things that you're good at, and let people do this when they're good at this.
Love the honesty. Well, Ken, I really appreciate this. Such a pleasure speaking with you, and we so appreciate just the candor here today. Just a few things to note. Ken took advantage of the concierge program that we have that he touched on, where he didn't pay for any of the improvements that we guided him through and white gloved for him and project managed until the house sold. 0 interest, 0 costs. It's at a cost by cost basis. And then also utilized our in-house stager, Modern Nest, who was on an earlier series with us. So we've got the tools. But anyways, we thank you, and we need everyone to know, if you have questions, Lauren and I, we're honored to help in any way that we can.
Perfect.
Thanks everyone for today. We so appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate both of you.
Thanks, Ken.
All righty.